Adding self-care to your daily routine is far easier than you think. In fact, if self-care seems like a daunting chore, then you might be doing something wrong. Go back and listen to episode 44, the 7 types of self-care or self-compassion, and episode 47, how to include self-compassion into your day. Those will give you more ideas, and those links are in the show notes. Remember, picking the right goals for yourself is important. What works for someone else might not work for you. Authenticity is the key, especially if you're trying to add new habits to your life. So in this episode of Coffee with Colleen, I'm going to share 5 ideas, things that successful people do that you might like to add to your daily self-compassion routine. If this is your first time listening to Coffee with Colleen, my name is Colleen Hammond. And I've noticed for decades that people's stress levels just have increased to extraordinary levels. So I learned and now teach science-backed resilience training. And what that does is help people decrease their stress, but at the same time, it's increasing energy, flow, and productivity. And part of de-stressing is discovering how to add and maintain self-compassion in your daily routine. One secret to sticking to a successful self-compassion plan is just to weave it into your daily routine, like brushing your teeth, while taking a few special days here and there to go get a deep massage or maybe a mani-pedi. That's just a wonderful way to practice some self-compassion, but you're more likely to be successful and, more importantly, experience the benefits by practicing self-care daily. And just like any new habit, it's easier to get started and maintain it if you add one habit at a time and do it slowly and do it stacking and not expect perfection from day one. I'm not going to get into that in this episode. In episode 31, I talked about how to break bad habits and build productive ones. And again, I've linked that in the show notes. So proper self-compassion is just part of your lifestyle, and it's about taking care of yourself. Again, like I mentioned earlier, it's like brushing your teeth or getting a good night's sleep. And if you don't do it every day, you won't be able to fully live the life you desire and deserve. So here are 5 activities that successful people have in their daily routine that you might like to add to yours for optimal health and happiness. Number 1, start your day with a personal to-do list. Now, you may have one for work, but what about personal? You want to keep them separate. So if you have an action plan at the beginning of the day, you're more likely to get up and tackle the things that need to get done. You have clarity, you have purpose, and it helps you be more positive. To-do lists should be specific, clear, and obtainable. Be sure they're scannable. What I mean by that is you can just glance at them and know, like in 1 or 2 words, what is 1, 2, and 3. You don't want to have a list that's overcrowded with a lot of detail. Too many details, that makes it a project, not a task. So you want to break it down into a list of 3 actionable items. So for example, do the podcast. So part of doing the podcast, it's a long list. I mean, it's part of recording the podcast. And then once the podcast is recorded, then it needs to be edited. And then you need to, it has to be written first before you record it. So you have to have those bullet points. Then you have to write the show notes. Then the video and the audio have to be remastered and edited. Then it needs to be transcribed. Then you have to upload it into the podcast program or to YouTube. Then you convert it over into a different form from MP4 to MP3. You need to make waveforms and clips, 1-minute clips. And then you want to video edit it if you're putting it on YouTube and put some overlays on it. And that has to be edited. And then you have to email your list, and then you have to put it on social media, right? So if you just do the podcast on your notes, what part of that do you really mean? So make sure that those 2 to-do lists are actionable items that you can glance over and say, write the next podcast, or record the podcast, or edit the podcast. Make sure they're things that you can do, in a reasonable amount of time, anywhere from 15 minutes to an hour, say, and that's how you break down your tasks. So be reasonable, be realistic, if you have 3 things on there and they're each going to take 8 hours, you're not going to get them done. So don't expect everything to be done in one day anyway. So that's why I say break your tasks down into anywhere from it'll take you about 15 minutes to an hour to do each one of those things. So that's make a task list. Number 2, practice positivity and mindfulness. And all mindfulness is not thinking about the past, not thinking about the future, just appreciating what's in front of you at the current moment. So work on feeling and being in presenting a positive mood. This is about seeing the good before you assume the worst. That helps promote mental clarity, also reduces stress. In addition, focusing on what you don't have and its bad side makes you actually, scientifically, it's been shown that it makes you more likely to make mistakes because you're frustrated or you have these other negative feelings, because the negative feelings actually release cortisol, which shuts down the prefrontal cortex, which is the logic center of your brain. So you have to go to my webinar. I explain it all in hilarious detail. So make sure to sign up for the 30 Days to Happiness Challenge as well. And part of that 30 Days Happiness Challenge is the webinar where I explain all that stuff in detail. Anyway, that link is in the show notes. So number 2 was practice positivity and mindfulness. Number 3, you knew we were going to talk about this one, right? What'd you think it is? Nutrition. Haha, fooled you. It's hydration and nutrition. Hydration has led to a lot of problems. So I make it a point, the first thing in the morning, I have a 32-ounce glass and I pour fresh filtered water in it with a little bit of lemon juice. And that's the first thing I do when I get up in the morning out of bed. That's the first thing I do when I get out of bed, actually, is I drink that full glass of lemon water. So it boosts your metabolism, it gets your insides working, and it rehydrates you because you've gone for 8 hours without having anything to drink. Then throughout the day, you want to use nutritious food. Remember, it's food to fuel and power you and your body and your brain throughout the day. And there are plenty of apps and other techniques to track your intake and ensure you have just what you need throughout the day. Don't expect yourself to remember. I have reminders set on my phone all the time. Just make it easy. Make it simple. Don't make it a chore. So number 3 is tracking your hydration and your nutrition. Number 4, movement. Yeah, see, this is where the exercise one that you thought was going to be number 3. I snuck it into number 4, but it's just movement. Any kind of physical activity. With the right types of movements for you, it's vital to a long and prosperous life. I was watching on Masterclass the other day. I can't remember his name now. Joe Holden, I think it was. He does, it's called Ocho. Anyway, he's got it stands for something. It's an acronym. But anyway, he has these whole movement routines that's just moving. It's not really stretching. It's just moving your body. Like, for example, he said in the morning, lay flat on your back in the bed, or you're laying on your side, actually. And then keeping your knees where they are, just roll the top half of your body and stretch your arms above your head and then over to the opposite side. Just movement. Any kind of movement is going to help. And those who live more sedentary lifestyles, working behind a desk, recording behind a microphone, statistically live shorter lives. So incorporate movement into any activity you need to do. Park further away from the door when you're going to the store. Just little things like that. And I spoke in the last episode about that under desk mini pedaler that I use. I'll link to it again in today's show notes. But it's just a matter of moving more on a daily basis. So number 4 is making movement of some sort a priority. And number 5, kind of sneak in your favorite hobbies. And if you don't have a hobby, this one's hard for me because my hobby is helping people, right? But I need a hobby for me. So I've been through a whole list of things and I'm still really trying to nail this one down. And being available for the things that you love the most. Right now, it's my grandchildren, frankly, because life's not just about working and paying the bills. It's about finding the activities, the people in your life that make you feel whole. It's fulfilling to engage in these activities. You feel accomplished. You feel happy. Maybe it's volunteering. But the more you add items into your life that you love, the more natural self-compassion will become. So number 5 is add in your favorite hobbies. So start with a list, practice positivity, track good hydration and good nutrition, move more, and have some fun. That's a great list, a great resource to get you started to implementing some daily self-compassion And remember, don't expect perfection and don't expect to add all of these things to your routine on day one. Just start with one that makes the most sense to you, who you are as an individual, what's authentic for you. Because self-compassion's, it's not about pretending to be someone you're not. It's just enhancing your current self and your current abilities to be a healthier and happier you. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Coffee with Colleen. Please tell someone about it. Screenshot, share on social media, use the hashtag Coffee with Colleen. We're really trying to get started and starting with a whole new role this year. So use that hashtag Coffee with Colleen. That's the name of the podcast. And also tag me. All my social media is listed in the show notes as well. And if you'd like to help share the positivity and help our podcast grow, please rate and review on Apple Podcasts. You know, it really, really helps. Boosts us up in the views. Give us some stars, cheer us on, leave us a review. If it's going to be 5 stars, if it's going to be less than that, email me first. But my last thought for today is this. Please remember, you are stronger than you think you are. And the future holds amazing things for you. Today is going to be a great day.